showtime. Let's do it. You're in effect. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world? We are in effect this evening and got a bit of an announcement to make. I got some new content creators coming to my channel that you guys should check out. I'm partnering with my man Tony Tone, aka Sports Fluent, and I got some new shows that are going to be coming to this channel. So it's going to be some good stuff. I think you're going to like it. I do. I think you're going to like it. Hoop Social, he's dope. Hoop Historians, they're dope. So I think it's some good stuff that I think you guys are going to dig. I don't think it's something that I don't think it's something that you guys will be disappointed with. I do think that you're going to like it. 100% I do. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the expansion of the channel. I'm excited about what's going on in the future. So I think you guys are gonna dig it. I do think that you guys are gonna dig it. What up, Eric? What up, Seth? How y'all doing? Yep. So we got some cool things on the horizon. Yeah, we do. We got some pretty cool things on the horizon. So well, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight, I did. Yes, I did, Tyler. What I want to talk to you guys tonight about is who's going to benefit the most from winning. Because we're about a month away from the playoffs. What's today, the 15th? Yeah, we're about a month away from the playoffs. We ain't that far away. And in the process of us being a month away, what up, Brooklyn? In the process of us being a month away from the playoffs, I'm looking at the standings, and of the teams that I see as of right now that I think could win the NBA championship, I really feel like it's only two. But of those teams that are in contention, who do I think would benefit the most from winning the NBA championship? There's a bunch of different guys that I'm confident would benefit from winning the NBA championship. I mean, if the Knicks won the NBA championship, it'd be the first time in over 50 years that the Knicks had won it. It would catapult Jalen Brunson's career, and it would put him in a different stratosphere altogether, especially if they won it off the strength of him. It would put him in a different stratosphere, considering who he is and where he's playing, how he's been playing this season. Guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think this puts Giannis in a different space because Giannis is in a space now where he proved the doubters wrong. He did it with his own crew. The team was homegrown. With the team being homegrown, he was the man from the beginning. And we saw him go through his struggles and actually win it. Now what it boils down to with him is, could he win it again? He already proved all the doubters wrong. There are some people who will mention, yo, well, these people were hurt and this is what was going on here. And if he won it again, it would silence a lot of doubters. But I really don't think that he has much else to prove because he's been in Milwaukee for 10 years. And being in Milwaukee for 10 years, he proved that he could do it. For Jimmy Butler, him being in Miami for as long as Jimmy Butler's been in Miami, I think that what that would do for buckets is I think that it would catapult him into a different space, especially considering how old he is, what he's done in the postseason, who he did it against, and finally getting over the hump. That would be a big deal for him. I think that would be a huge deal for buckets. For the Cavs, and Donovan Mitchell, I don't think it would be something where people looked at and they were shocked. I think that it would. I think that it would be something that people would look at. They wouldn't be shocked more than they would be floored. Because shocked is like, wow. For Cleveland to win it, people would be blown away, completely blown away. And this would solidify Donovan Mitchell in a different space. But I don't think the Cavs have a chance in winning it this year. I think that they got a good chance in going deep into the playoffs. I don't think they have a chance in winning it. Joel Embiid, if he were to win the NBA championship, this would dispel all. Well, number one, he would prove that I could finally get it done. Because again, I mean, Giannis, they won it in 2021. He was there 7 years. 7 years, 8 years. 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21. It took him 8 years to do it. 8. Joel Embiid, how Joel Embiid has been playing over the last 3 years, if he were to do it, it would dispel a lot of the criticism from Joel Embiid. He always breaks down in the playoffs, which causes him to underperform. In the process of it causing him to underperform, he always falls short. He always falls short. If he were to be able to get it done, it would dispel a lot of that. A lot of that rhetoric around him. In the Eastern Conference of these guys, right? In the Eastern Conference of these guys, all of these guys, I think the guy that benefits the most from this is Jason Tatum. In the Eastern Conference, I think he benefits the most from everybody. And the reason why I feel like he benefits the most from everybody is because he's been there, right? He's benefited the most from everybody because it would benefit him, especially if they went deep into the playoffs. Especially if they went deep into the playoffs and won it, and it was off the strength of him, and he played great in the playoffs, and he played great in the NBA Finals. This would dispel. It would shut down any other logic that you had about him. You couldn't continue the verbiage that you had about him. You couldn't continue it. It would dead it. It would completely and utterly dead it. Otherwise, you would be labeled not just as a hater, but you would be labeled as a goofy. And not just a hater, you would be completely labeled as a goofy. Always. That's what you would always be labeled as. And because of that, people wouldn't listen to you. He would shut down a lot. In fact, not a lot. I think he would shut down all of the negative energy about him because he would do what everybody said he couldn't do. That would shut all of you guys up. You would have to, right? You would have to be quiet about him. You couldn't continue to talk about him the way you do. You wouldn't be able to do it. There's no way that you could do it. SGA, it would benefit him off the strength that Oklahoma City is a young team and they may be the team of the future. And with them being the team of the future, right? And with them being the team of the future, the question would be, well, yo, he only 25 years old. With him being only 25 years old and this crew being as young as they are, well, how many more can they win? How many more times could they do it? Right? How many more times could they do it? And then once that logic happens, pressure builds. The guy that I think that this whole thing of everybody benefits the most is Joker. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. I think this benefits Joker. Why do I think it benefits Joker? Because I feel like if the Denver Nuggets win the NBA championship this year, they're going to win it again next year too. And if they win it again, which I think they're going to do, now this puts Joker in a completely different stratosphere than everybody else. It'd be the first team to three-peat. They would be the first team because, again, I'm on record saying this, right? I'm on record saying this, that I'm on record saying this, that if they win it this year, they're going to win it again next year. And if they win it again next year, I mean, the first team to three-peat, they'd be the first team since the Warriors to go back to back, right? They'd be the first team to go back to back. And in the process of them going back to back, that would put them in a different. That would put them in a different category. Not only a different category. Not only is it in a different category, now we got to have different conversations about it. And that would make that would make their confidence. That would make their confidence so high. Because I've seen what three-peats look like. I've seen what the confidence level is, right? I seen what the confidence level is for a team that three-peats, especially when they win it in back-to-back seasons. I've seen what the confidence level looks like. When that Laker team, when Shaq was on that Laker team, after they beat Philly, it wasn't a question of whether or not. It wasn't a question of whether or not they were going to win it again. He was convinced of that. He was convinced we winning it again next year. No questions asked. None. So because of that, I feel like of all the guys of this generation who could benefit the most, I think it's Joker, because I feel like what the amount of confidence that they would have, the amount of confidence that they would have, and not just the amount of confidence that they would have, not just with Joker, this whole unit, the amount of confidence that they would have after they got it done this year, because everybody's just about at their best. This is the best team the Boston Celtics have had, right? This is the best team that the Boston Celtics have had since Jason Tatum been on that crew. It's the best team that they had. In the process of this being the best team they had, to drop them, right? To drop them, it would speak volumes for how much confidence this team would have. It would speak volumes for them. I don't think it would benefit James as much. And the reason why I don't feel like it would benefit James as much is because, I mean, we're in year 21. If he, in fact, I think it would be more haters. I think it would be more haters than actually people who support this, because they'd be like, well, it took you 21 years to get to 5, especially depending how he played. Especially depending on how he played. And in the process of him, right, in the process of him winning it, he's never, I feel like we're in a space with him where he's never gonna get, I feel like he's never gonna get past that Jordan or James, the Jordan James logic. There's Jordan people and there's James people. So no matter what he does, these people already care about their guy. So for him to win it again, it wouldn't really do much for him for the other side. It would just add more fuel, right? It would just add more fuel. So in the process of it add more fuel, I don't think that this benefits him. I don't think this benefits him that much. I do think it benefits Steph Curry, though. I do. I do think that it benefits Steph Curry if he were to win more, because now with him winning, what it does for him is he gets to talk more about how much he won in this era. What up, Wanty? He gets to talk about how much he won in this era. Now, mind you, there were some things that went on in order for him to do that. And it worked. I think he solidified himself in 22 when they won the NBA championship against Boston. I think that solidified him. I proved that I could do it. And I proved that I could do it this way and this way. Both ways. I proved that I could do it. And I don't think that there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else that I need to prove. Nothing. When they won in 22, that was it. There was nothing else that was left for him to do. Right? There was nothing else left for him to do. So I don't think he's winning it again. But if he did, I think it would. I think it would benefit him. but I don't think it would benefit him nearly as much as it would benefit Joker because, like I said, the confidence level, right? I feel like the confidence level would just be through the roof. I feel like the confidence level would be through the roof. Who do you guys think winning a championship would benefit the most? Of all these people, who do you guys think that this benefits the most? I personally think it's Joker. Of all the people, I think it's Joker. And I don't think it's a question because I feel like if they win the NBA championship this year, right? I feel like if they won it this year, I feel like next year I feel like they win it again. And in the process of them doing that, I don't think that I don't think there'd be a question if they wanted a third year. I feel like Jason Tatum, I feel like what this would do for him, as I feel like it would shut up a lot of the doubters. It would zip a lot of the doubters up. A lot of the doubters who had something to say about him, a lot of them, it would completely shut them up. They wouldn't have anything to say. So, hey, Rusty, the link is in the chat if you want to come through. If you're still here, Rusty, the link is in the chat, my man. If you want to come through, the link is right in the chat. If you want to come through. If you want to come through, the link is in the chat. And whatever's on your mind, you want to talk to me, let's do it. I'm down. Knock yourself out, brother. Absolutely. The link is in the chat. So if you want to come through, we can get to the bottom of whatever's on your mind, my man. Whatever's on your mind. So I think it benefits Joker the most of all the people. I do. I think it benefits Joker. Because I feel like with Jason Tatum, I feel like it would shut a lot of people up. A lot of you guys would just have to. A lot of you guys would have to change your logic on him. You'd have to, because you can't have it both ways. You can't. If he were to get it done this season, and it would be off the strength of him, and he played the way, I think he could play. A lot of the narrative on him, you'd have to stop talking about him like that. You would have to. If you didn't, then you sound crazy. You would have to stop talking like you would have to. Because there would be no basis for you still talking like this. But I just feel like it benefits Joker the most from a confidence standpoint. Number one, I feel like he's in a different conversation. Winning the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons, being the finals MVP again in back-to-back seasons. And I think that he wins the league MVP again this year. So that'd be the third time in 4 years. I think that puts him in different conversations. A lot of different conversations. Some conversations that some people aren't ready to have, to be quite honest with you. And with that being said, there's some people that are hoping that it doesn't happen because they don't want to talk about this, which is why they wouldn't give him the league MVP last year. Which is why they wouldn't give him the league MVP last year. So I think that the confidence level that he would have, I feel like it would be impossible to even top that. But I'm interested to hear from you guys. Who do you think benefits the most from winning the NBA championship this year more than anybody? I think it's Joker. What up?
Yo.
What up?
So I think this might be a take that not a lot of people might agree with. I haven't watched a lot of basketball as of recent, but I'm going to say the Clippers. And I mean as an organization, because if we look back, historically, the Clippers have been a team with Doc Rivers when it was CP3, Jordan, Blake. They were the big three. A lot of people saw a lot of good confidence in them. They lost to the Rockets. I think they were up 3-1 or something like that. They lost.
They were.
They lost to the Jazz. That series where
Leonard got hurt. No, yeah. they actually beat the Jazz. They lost to the Suns.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
what they beat the Jazz. They lost to the Suns.
Okay.
If Leonard doesn't get hurt, I think they go to the NBA Finals that year.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then no, I'm talking about. I think it was when CP3 was still there when.
Yeah, when
uh,
they were up 3-1 on Utah, and Utah came
yes,
back and beat them.
yes, yeah, that one. Then obviously the
It was
series we're
actually
talking.
it was actually Denver who came back and beat them. They were up. It wasn't Utah. It was Denver.
Okay. My memory doesn't
Mhm.
serve me well, but
That's cool. Mm-hmm.
then we get to the bubble. We
Mm-hmm.
saw. I mean, actually, no, before the bubble, they looked really well when they had picked up SGA against. It was against the Warriors with KD. They came back down 30. They won a must-win game 5, but then they lost the series.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they had to trade SGA because again, either you keep Kawhi or you lose Kawhi. It's
Mm-hmm.
really not that big. It's I can understand why they gave him up. We saw what happened against the Mavs in the bubble. That
Yep.
was one of the worst losses I think Kawhi has taken in his career, as well as just the Clippers. So now,
They actually beat Dallas.
no, in
They
the
beat
bubble.
Dallas. Yeah, they beat Dallas. They lost to Denver. They were
No,
up
no,
3-1 on
no. I'm
Denver.
saying no. Remember in the bubble when Dallas came. Oh wait, no, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Oh
No,
my
you good.
goodness.
You good.
My
You good.
goodness. Oh
You
man.
good. You good. They
Nah.
beat Dallas. They
Yes.
beat Dallas in the first
Yeah.
round, and they were up 3-1 on Denver.
That's what
And
it
and
was.
Denver and Denver ended up coming back and beating them.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then so now and then obviously the year prior, Kawhi got hurt. Russ did all he could.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George was, well, you know. And then now this season, we saw the whole thing with James Harden.
Yep.
He gets himself out of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
We already know who he is. He's not the guy who closes. In big moments, he chokes. He's not the guy who can
Mm-hmm.
carry you. We know that. Playoff P. We understand his name. We've seen him in the Thunder series. Even though he played really well, but he had some shaky series. I
Mm-hmm.
can't deny that. Russ, he had his whole thing when he was on the Lakers. People thought it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
People, obviously he became the scapegoat. Now he's here. He played really well the last playoffs he was in, but obviously no Kawhi. It was kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as well as the Clippers are doing, and I'm also going to say this is also going to decide the future of the Clippers because a lot of contracts are ending this season, at the end of the season.
Paul George comes off the books at the end of the season, and
Yep.
James Harden comes off the books at the end of the season.
So now we're going to see, okay, you have one of the better teams in the league. Offensively, you have good, solid bigs, rim running bigs. You have good, really strong defense, perimeter wise as well. I think that if they win this ring, it changes the narrative of a lot. Not even just like the organization, but a lot of players.
A lot of guys.
It changes.
We're
It
talking different
changes
about Russ. We're talking different about
Russ,
James Harden.
Kawhi,
Way different.
and
Way
then
different.
we're gonna because now it's gonna say, okay, now we saw James Harden actually be, a good player. He was consistent in the playoffs. He actually showed up. Kawhi Leonard, he actually stayed healthy because the biggest thing about Kawhi, he doesn't stay healthy.
Right.
And that's what people always knock him about. But if he can stay healthy for an entire playoff season, I'm saying like it's not like an injury where he can't not prevent it. It's like obviously some things happen, they happen. I understand. I'm not going to knock him.
Right.
But for him to stay healthy and to play efficiently, I think that would change how people look at him both all time and just all around currently.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George, if he can play the way he played, I think it was in 2021 where they were down 3-2 to the Suns and had, I think, the year that Giannis won.
Mm-hmm.
But I
21.
think that if Paul George is to reiterate that Paul George, the way he put the team on his back and became a scorer, I think that the Clippers benefit the most, not just because obviously they'll win their first championship, but this will change the narrative of so many players. I
I think
understand the
so.
Joker point. The Joker point makes a lot of sense. But I think when you look at Russ, because people in this day and age, people look at rings.
The narrative changes on Russ ridiculously. If
My God.
with the resume that Russ has, and Russ isn't a scrub, right? Russ isn't just a
No.
good player.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Russ is vital to what they're doing. It's not like Russ is just hanging on. Russ is vital to what they're doing with the Clippers. So if he were to get on this crew and they end up going to the championship and winning, the narrative on Russ has to change. And it has to change for the better.
Yeah,
if they were to do this. I said this before the season started, as a matter of fact, because I'm not in on the Clippers. I'm out on the Clippers. But I did ask the question before the season started. I said, what happens if this thing works? Like, how are we talking about these dudes? I did say that. I did say that.
And then I think we're gonna look at, and then I think now we're even gonna look at Daryl Morley. I don't know how to say his last name. Daryl Morley different because we now know the comments that James Harden made. So now if James Harden wins a ring in a different unit, obviously they're a bit better than a bit better than Philly. I can say that, but now I feel like do you think if Joel sees Harden win a ring, do you think Joel would want to stay in Philly if the Clippers win, seeing how Harden left and he was successful somewhere else?
Well, what did it take for him to be successful? Like, he had to jump on a bomb squad to do that.
He did.
And what's it going to take to move off of Joel Embiid? Who do you think? Joel Embiid's not going to the Warriors. The Warriors don't have any. It's not like he's going to the Warriors. It's not like he's going to Milwaukee. It's not like he's going to Boston, Miami, like teams like that. Like, where is it? What is it going to take to get Joel Embiid on your squad? Knowing who Daryl Morey is, it's going to take a load to get him on your squad. So, I mean, I think that Joel Embiid is supplanted in Philly. But I do think that him seeing James Harden win it, I think it might be a little bit different for him. I don't think that he would take too kindly to that. I think that would motivate him not to leave, but to stay healthy to win it, because they were on a trajectory this season. Philly was to have a shot at winning it, but Joel Embiid broke down. That didn't have anything to do with him. The way that roster was constructed, the crew was built around him.
Yes.
So if he stays healthy and they get into the playoffs and he plays the way he's been playing and that translates into the playoffs, I don't see why they wouldn't have a shot in winning the NBA championship. I don't.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. Yup. I don't see why it wouldn't happen. So I got a super chat from Nick Tri-State. He said Giannis gains the most, in my opinion. He would definitely have top 10 all-time consideration. Would he though? Would Giannis have top 10 all-time consideration if he ended up winning the NBA championship again? I don't know about that, because I'm thinking about all the guys that are in front of him. And when I say all the guys that are in front of him, I don't put Giannis ahead of James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel, Kobe, Steph Curry, Oscar, Jerry West, Moses Malone, KD, Doc, Karl Malone, KG, or Havlicek. I don't put him ahead of none of them dudes. He goes ahead of none of them off the strength of how awesome they were for as long as they were. Like, if Giannis quit today, where's Giannis at on the all-time? Where's Giannis at on the all-time scoring list? I don't even think he top 50. If Giannis quit today, Giannis ain't on the all-time. Where's Giannis? Where's Giannis on the rebounding list? If Giannis quit today, like, where do we put Giannis? This ain't just about championships. No, that's why Kawhi Leonard, I don't talk about him like that. Because when we're talking about being awesome, we're talking about being awesome for a long time. We're talking about doing it for a long time. So I have a difficult time with that. What up, Vinny?
What's the word, Chill?
What up?
I'm good, man. I chimed in a little late. I heard you talking about the Tatum topic a little bit. I feel like, while I may agree with you that he gains the most from gaining a chip, it truly depends on how he plays. And I feel like there will be pushback from certain individuals because of the unit he's on, and they'll try to use that against him, which I don't think it's fair at all, because no one was looking for Derek White when he came from the Spurs to Boston. Jaylen Brown in the draft, Jason Tatum in the draft. They acquired Porzingis and Holiday. But I feel like there will be those individuals that have pushback because of his unit. But I do agree with you that Tatum does have the most to gain. But I feel like Embiid, man, if he does some crazy stuff this year, I don't think he will. But if he does, with this unit and with Harden leaving and all that, I feel like if he conquers the East and beats whoever comes out the West, that would be crazy.
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking about Jason Tatum, I don't think he benefits the most. I think Joker benefits the most. But I feel like with the Jason Tatum logic, there's people who you got to start talking different about him. Especially if he performs like I think he could perform in the postseason. You have to start talking different about him. You can't keep this narrative up. Because it's the only thing that's standing in front of him. That's it. What's the biggest knock on him? The biggest knock on him is that he's inconsistent in the playoffs. Yep. That's the biggest knock on him. So if he were able to get it done in the playoffs, like that has to go away. What else is there to talk about with him? What else can you say about him that could be legit? Because you can't use the super team logic. And the reason why you can't use the super team logic because Jaylen Brown ain't averaged 20 a game until year 4. It took him 4 years to average 20 a game. There's nobody that's winning. Take Jason Tatum out of that lineup. Who's winning with Kemba Walker playing the way Kemba was playing in the bubble?
Nobody. Come on.
Nobody winning with that. Ain't nobody winning with that. So with that being said, he has to dispel the playoff logic. And if he does that, the narrative on him has to shut up. But I don't think that anybody benefits more than Joker does. Because I just think this puts him in a completely different stratosphere.
With what you were saying about Jokic, with him repeating, and you said if he repeats this year, they'll three-peat.
I think they're gonna win it again next year. I do.
Will this be the most clear gap of the best player in the league since LeBron in, was it 13? Because the gap was clear in 13. No one else was close to LeBron. Will this be the clearest gap we've seen for the best player in the league if Jokic does accomplish that?
He separates himself a lot. To three-peat, to win it 3 years in a row, to win the league. Because I think he's going to win the league MVP this year too.
Even if he does it twice in a row, will it still be like clear gap? This is the best player in the league. I don't want to talk about it.
I think it's undisputed. I don't think that there's a question. Like you can argue at this point, you can still argue Giannis. You can still argue Luka. You can still argue a lot of other guys. If they were to win the NBA championship, if he wins the league MVP the way he's been playing this year, if he wins the league MVP and they go back to the championship and win it again, I think the gap now it gets even wider than what it already is for me.
I agree. I think it's like LeBron in 2013 all over again. Like this is the clear best player in the league. Ain't no talking about it, undisputed. But one more point I wanted to touch on. I wanted to show Giannis some love because the way he's playing has been incredible. It's just
Vinny, they're Portland without him. Take him off that roster. They're the Trailblazers.
I think it's the best year of his career, in my opinion. From a playmaking standpoint, the way he's become as a passer, watching those Bucks games is crazy. And he's still putting up 30 and 10. I just feel like if he conquers the East with the turmoil that the Bucks went through, with firing their coach, with how Damian Lillard has been this year, man, that would be crazy. That would be crazy, Chilltown.
I'm thinking about like when has Giannis played better than this? Maybe 22, the year after they won the NBA championship. I thought he was going to win the league MVP that year.
I thought he played.
I thought that's why I had winning it that year. To be honest with you, I thought he was going to win the league MVP that year. In recent years, maybe 22. Yeah, maybe 22 is probably the most recent year that I'm thinking about. Like this season, there's a difference between. I still stand on this. I always felt like there's a difference between the best version of you and your best work. So I think 92 Jordan, that was the best version of him. I think 89 Jordan, that was his best work. James.
Okay, I see where you're going.
James in 13. I think that was the best version of James. I think 2018, I think that was his best work. Even though 2009 James comes pretty close to 2018 James. So that's where I'm at with that.
I can see where they're coming from with that. I just feel like the gap in his playmaking from 2022 till now is just I'm watching them Bucks games, man. He's driving to the paint, kicking it out behind his back, Malik Beasley in the corner. It's crazy. He's improved so much, but it's just going overshadowed because the Bucks are just so inconsistent. And he's the whole defense. Brook Lopez has fell off as a defender. I don't know, man.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. You know where to find me at. I just think that I think Joker in terms of his confidence. I just can't see nobody having that kind of confidence if they win it again. I just can't see it. Teddy Hart sends the super chat. He says, chill. If we take away all hindsight, was there any talk debate before the 92 draft where Zoe or Christian could have gone number one? Or was it 100% Shaq as the consensus number one? Take away cousin bias. Oh, no doubt about it. Orlando was taking Shaq. He was the best player in the. Well, I don't think he was the best player in the country, and he didn't think it was actually Christian Laettner, but he was the franchise player, and everybody knew it. Orlando actually had the O'Neal jersey at the lottery, and when they won it, they actually held it up that it was him. He was their guy. It wasn't a question of who they were going with. It wasn't Alonzo Mourning. It wasn't Christian Laettner. It wasn't anybody else. It was Shaq. No doubt about it. They had a parade for him when he showed up. It wasn't a question of whether or not who the consensus number one was, because he was the best big man in the country. He was the best 5-man. Christian Laettner was the best player. Who was the best 5-man? It was definitely Shaq. So, what up?
What's going on, CT? Hey, I got your joint yesterday because I actually get your alerts when you're going live. And it said Chilltown, Leafs, Maple Leafs, something. I was like, wait, he doing hockey now? Like, what the hell? I'm like,
we're expanding a little bit. That's all. I'm getting some more content on here. Just getting some more.
You got to pay around that shit. Right.
Just getting some more content on here.
He on another show, and he got to pay on his shit, bro. Like,
I'm kind of expanding. I used to just be on this block, and I'm getting a little bit more weight, so I can move up a couple.
All right. You get that.
That's all. I was only on this corner right here. This is the only corner I was on, right?
Now you're trying to navigate. The blocks is clear. He like, no, let me sneak around the corner.
Just saying, Leaf. Ain't nobody over there. Ain't
nobody over there.
Right. So I can.
Let's move down.
Yeah, we can move down a couple of blocks. Ain't nobody on 115th and Lex. Ain't nobody on 117th. We can move over there a little bit.
Make sure ain't nobody around here.
Now, wait a minute, Leaf. I'm gonna make sure I ain't stepping on no toes now. I ain't just gonna set up shop. I gotta make sure that I ain't stepping on no toes.
Let me spin the block. All right, ain't nobody around here.
Ain't nobody around. We good. So yeah, I can set up shop.
Before I get into your question for the channel, actually, I started streaming to a couple of people on Twitter, so I hope you don't mind about that. But to get to your question, I'm gonna get to your question in a minute because I laughed when you said I don't even think Giannis is top 50. Where we was at when it was a conversation held on PC that Giannis may have a top 25 5-year peak. So like Giannis not being top 50 is laughable to me. But I mean,
did I say that? I don't know if I said top 50.
I think you just said.
No.
You don't even think Giannis is top 50.
No. The question was the NBA Finals. That's what it was. It was his NBA Finals performance. His NBA Finals performance. It was top 5.
I think we was arguing about a top 5.
It wasn't his peak. It was his NBA Finals performance. Was it top 5? And I was like, wait a minute. And I ran down some people who had, like, I talked about Jordan.
Ran down some people that had 50 in the closeout game?
Not 50 in the closeout game, but I was talking about their overall performance in the finals. And I didn't say top 50. Hell no, I can't name 50 performances better than what he did in 2021. I don't know if I can name 15.
Okay, can you name 55-year peaks that's better than the one that he just had in the last 5 years?
5-year peaks? 50? No. Yeah. I can't name 50.
Okay, all right.
I don't know where that came from. I don't think I said that.
Listen, if he is top 50, then he probably might be in somewhere in the 40s or the 30s. Just to keep it honest. But to get to your question, the person who had the most to gain was Joel. You got to look at the trajectory, man. Like, we talking about an MVP season. Had he not got hurt, this MVP shit ain't even a question. And me and you both know it. This shit ain't even a question. Come on, bro. Like, we talking about somebody that was duplicating what I thought was a homie MVP. I like because me and you both you said you already has explained to me why somebody else didn't get MVP because they didn't want to have that conversation.
Right.
Why? So I mean they gave it to Joel because they didn't want to have that conversation. Kendrick Perkins threw the monkey wrench in the bag, and that's what it was. But in terms of this season here, coming into this year, is Joel. I ain't gonna. We need 24 hours to go back and forth about Tatum because you already know how I feel about him. So I ain't gonna speak on him right now. But I would have to agree with you somewhat about Joker. But I would be lying to you if I said I didn't feel the same way about this Denver team that I feel about the Boston team a little bit. And not now you know how I feel about I feel like this is where I feel about the Boston team. This is how much I feel about them. This is how I feel about the Denver team. I'm like. You know when you can't put your hand on something and something is you just know something ain't right. Something is gonna go left. I can't really explain it. Now in terms of
rotation. That's what it is more than anything. It's their rotation.
Rotation is it the bench?
That's what it is. It's their because they still got the same five.
Mm-hmm.
They still got the same five.
So you think they should have spun the block and got Bruce Brown back?
They couldn't because Toronto wasn't giving them up. That was the difference. Toronto just wasn't giving them up. And losing Jeff, that was a big deal. So
right.
I think Holiday's going to end up. I don't think Najee going to make their playoff roster. To be honest with you,
you don't think Najee going to make the playoff?
I don't think he's going to make their roster. Have you watched Najee as a rotation player? He's completely ineffective. He don't get them much. He doesn't give them much. He doesn't look at the basket. He doesn't rebound at a high level as a rotation guy. He doesn't really give them much. So I'm thinking about Holiday. I think Holiday might make the roster before him. And if Najee does make the roster, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play at all in the playoffs.
Now, here's my thing. Not only do I think Giannis has an MVP case, but I think if he could somehow drag this team out of the East, with as inconsistent as they have been all season, it was inconsistent as Dame has been all season. We gonna have to start tapping our shoulders about, hey, it might be time to put Giannis in like a top 25 conversation. It might be time because if you look at it, if you look at the trajectory of the players that's not born here, and I started this conversation off with Joel, it goes Giannis, MVP, champion. Joker, MVP, champion. Joel, MVP, about to be another MVP, and question mark. You know what I'm saying? Question mark. So if you look at
I don't think he's in the conversation with you. If Giannis was, if Giannis would have won it this year, it's him, it's Joker. I think he may jump Joker, but I think that the Joel Embiid Giannis conversation, I think we kill that because what we have now is we got a guy who won the league MVP in back-to-back seasons. We got to do. Not only did he win the MVP in back-to-back seasons, won the NBA championship, won it twice in 3 years. This is now the gap between him and Joel Embiid. I don't think that.
I understand that. Now I understand that. Now, in terms of a lot of other teams, is this the plight of the? I gotta ask you something. Is this the plight? Are we watching the plight of the small market teams as contenders now? Because the Warriors is the most valuable franchise with at $8.3 billion, and they barely holding on to the play-in. You got at the top of the West,
right?
Denver, Minnesota, OKC, and over in whatchamacallit, you got Milwaukee in second. You got Cleveland, which we ain't really taking Cleveland seriously as a title contender. But what would happen if how would you feel if you Kevin Durant, James Harden, or Russ? How do you feel if the OKC Thunder mess around and win this whole thing?
They'll be charged about it. KD would absolutely be charged about it. To see them do it, knowing KD and knowing the baller that he is, knowing Russ and knowing his ties with Oklahoma City, they'll be supercharged to see them boys win it.
So you think they'd be pissed off?
No, I think they'd be super happy to see them dudes win it. Hell yeah, they would. Because let's be clear about who KD is. Don't forget, Lee. Even though he left the way he left, KD is an alum. He's been there for almost 10 years, yo.
Yeah, of course.
Russ played there for what, 12 years?
12
Something
years.
like that? 12 years.
About 12 years.
So for them dudes, that's family over there. So to see them dudes do that, KD couldn't. KD, there's no way KD would have his lip poked out. Like, no, you would have to give it up to them dudes. You would have to.
But here's the thing: we saw KD leave Golden State, and we saw them win the championship without him.
Right.
If this happens again, where OKC somehow wins a championship, not only without him or at his expense while he's competing for a championship, you don't think this says nothing to Kevin Durant in terms of? You don't think this points a gun at Kevin Durant from anybody? Like that, to me,
it definitely points fingers at him. Like, yo, you couldn't get it done, even though I think that he had a better shot of getting it done if he just stayed with the Warriors. But even with that being said, the reason why he left OKC because he knew he couldn't get past the gatekeeper. That had nothing to do with the organization and him not wanting to. The reason why he left there because the gatekeeper and Steph Curry had the keys on lock. If you're trying to get to the NBA Finals, you can't get past us to do it. So in order for you to get there, we can't beat him without you. You can't beat him without us.
You know the problem that I have with that statement that you just made. Wasn't Kevin Durant and Russ together supposed to be the gatekeepers of the West? Look, go look at how they came out of the West in 2012. Kobe, Hall of Famer with the Lakers, with that Lakers team that came off them titles. San Antonio, who won the West 2 years after that with Duncan in that big three. With that team that just came off a title. That's who they beat. They was on their way to beating 4 top 10, at least 3 top 10 players. Mm-hmm. Had they beat LeBron that year, they already beat Duncan, they already beat Kobe. That's 4. That would have been 3 arguable top 10 players that they would have beat.
Right.
So to me, in my personal opinion, and a lot of people say they peaked early, this, that, the third. I'm like, damn all of that. Yo, Steph Curry came out of the win. He took your cake. Bro, while you was sitting at the table, while you was competing, you sitting at the table. Here comes Steph Curry come out of nowhere.
Thank you very much. I'll take this.
Out of nowhere, take your Kool-Aid bologna sandwich. Put your feet up on the desk at home. All of this. And meanwhile, you was up 3-1, and you had the bag, and you fumble at the 1 yard line on some honest Biner shit. Like, what are you doing?
And don't leave out after I took your lunch, after I took all your food, I made you get on my crew too. How about that?
Well, listen, this is Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons' words. He said, and I quote, Kevin Durant saved the Warriors.
Yeah, he threw a monkey wrench in the whole shit. Leave, I've been told you that, yo. This ain't news. He threw a monkey wrench in everything.
When we talk, okay, now you saying the monkey wrench, I'm telling you what an NBA great told. He saved SAVE capital D the Warriors. He saved them.
I'm on record saying it. What Isaiah's saying ain't news. I'm on record saying this. They came back in the most historical fashion and beat the Golden State and beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. They came back. Oklahoma City now. I'm sorry, not Oklahoma City. The Warriors now lose in the most historical fashion. Cleveland confidence is through the roof. If KD, let's just say KD stays in Oklahoma City, and they do get past Oklahoma City, which they probably could. They very well could get past them. I think Cleveland smokes them in the finals the next year. I don't think Cleveland beat them. I think they smoked them.
No. Listen, I'm on the record, and you know I don't like nothing about LeBron James. I think they smoked them if they win it that year in 2016 and go to the finals. I think LeBron beats Kevin Durant again.
Oh, I ain't fine. I'm not
in 2016.
I think they smoked them in 2017. And now, so this is what happens now, because like you just talked about what Isaiah Thomas said. So this is what happens now. You just lost in historical fashion the year before that after being up 3-1. And then the next year, you get smoked in the finals. Leaf, we can't keep this crew together. We got to break this thing up.
I understand that. So Kevin Durant, he broke the fifth wall and he said, "Yo, this is either gonna break up because we know we can't beat them." Okay, so now you go with the Warriors. And now you say, "All right, yo, whatever my legacy is, however people talk about my legacy, F it. All I know what's gonna come out of this light-skinned kid at the one, he gonna be just fine. He gonna be just fine. And he not only and he doubled that down in 2022 when he won another one without you. And now, and you're looking at an OKC team that's the top of the West without you. When is it gonna be Kevin Durant been ducking fades, bro, for since 2016? When is it gonna be that? Because that's what he's been doing.
It's always been that. That's not news. It's always been that, I believe. I mean, this ain't something new that we talking about. We always been talking
but to agree with you about the Joker part, if we're gonna say joke, it adds to Joker's it benefits Joker. I think it benefits Giannis just as much, because if you look at that crew that Giannis is with right now, if they somehow win the East, and you know I'm coming back here if they do, because you know they're gonna be somebody that you like and that you approve of, that you have no criticism of whatsoever. And if they don't get out of the East, then you offer them.
That's not true. That is not true.
When is the last time you criticized Boston, bro? Other than when they lost and when they done blew the dope against the Lakers and the Cavs and blew all the. I didn't hear it last year because I was in here.
Wait a minute, that was just a couple of days ago when I got on them. And did I not just get on them a couple of days ago when they lost to Denver? Do I not have Denver as the best team in the league?
You did, granted. But at the same time, I think there's a difference between criticizing them and just saying, I'm out. This year, if they don't win the East, are you out?
No, I'm not out. But I'm talking different about them. I am. I'm talking completely different about them. I am.
Yo, you crazy. Yo, you crazy.
No doubt. I'm not out.
About JT too.
No, I'm not out.
You're gonna see what I've been telling you for the past year about this dude and Jaylen Brown. They got two Scottie Pippins, and
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. All right, Lee. I know where to find you at, brother. Mm-hmm. I'm not out yet. What up?
What up, Chill? How you doing?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm thinking about your question that you had, and I'm thinking who benefits the most. And I'm thinking there's a few players that benefit a lot from this team. I think if you're talking about historical presidents, Jokic and Giannis will benefit the most. But I think Jokic benefits more, because I think if you start looking at it, you're thinking, okay, where does this guy go in terms of the maybe even top 10 settings? You probably say he's number 5 at that point. If he goes back to back, maybe in the top 8 of settings ever. Russell.
We actually had this conversation of the positions: the lead, the 2, the small, the 4, and the 5. Which top 5 is the toughest to crack? I think it's the 5 spot.
It's the 5 spot, yeah.
I personally think it's the 5 spot. And if you have Joker win the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons, does he crack the top 5? I don't think he cracks the top 5, but we're having a different conversation about it.
You're having a logical conversation. You're having a conversation. Who is he fighting for that top 5 spot for? That maybe top 6 spot for? In my personal top 5 of the centers is Kareem, Russell, Wilt, Shaq, Hakeem, and then after that, we can start having conversations maybe about. You guys. To be fair, I don't really see many other people having a place over Jokic. Maybe you might have, I don't know, Dwight Howard in your top 10 of centers. Some people have him at the bottom 10. Like it just depends on where you kind of see Jokic. But I think if he wins this championship, I don't think you'll get a three-peat from this generation. I think player movement is too real. And I think that the league will adjust to any kind of team that's super dominant, like Golden State. Right. That's why you got teams where those major super teams started to be made to kind of respond to Golden State and all those kind of weird moves that took place. So I don't think they will, and maybe health might get in the way. But I think Jokic has the most potential to kind of get into that top 15 realm. I think Giannis has another. I think Giannis is not saying disrespected, but I think Giannis is going unnoticed on how he's playing because of the way how bad that Bucks team is, in spite of the fact that they have superstars. I think they're not say a bad team, the Bucks, but they're not a good team outside of Giannis. I think a lot of it is so much centered around.
I think they're the Trailblazers without Giannis.
Yeah,
I do. I think they're Portland. I think they're at the bottom. I think they're fighting to get in the play-in tournament.
Yeah,
Fight.
they're not a good team. Everybody
think
has regressed from that team, let's be honest.
I think
Everybody has
I
regressed.
think they're a lower level play-in team. Like I think they're right around like I think that not Portland. I'm not going to say as bad as Portland, but I think they're around like Atlanta, Toronto. That's who I think they are without Giannis.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think Lillard. I think in that Eastern Conference, I don't think Lillard, if he was your number one guy, would be doing much. And you can see the decline. He's getting old. You can see that Lillard is getting old. So I think you start to have a conversation about Giannis. Maybe again, the power forward space. That's not that deep. You only really got 4 people already ahead of Giannis. If you really want to say that, and he starts to elevate. If he goes another championship, 2 championships in 3 years.
3 years. Yep.
And it seems crazy to think that he only went in 21, but people have kind of forgotten now. And that performance he had was one of the best all time. So I think Giannis has that other potential. Then you got the guys on the lower end on who kind of benefits in that kind of short-term realm. I think somebody like Harden benefits short-term. Long-term, I don't think his legacy is affected by a ring. I think you've seen him as a number one guy. You've seen him not be a number one guy. And how badly he's played as number one in big moments doesn't go away. That's a mental picture that I'll never forget. The 2018 Western Conference Finals against Golden State, when I watched his team miss 27 threes and go away from shooting 56% from the rim to shooting 0% from 3 in the third quarter, and basically making 1 free, and him going 2 for 13 in Game 7. I'll never forget that game. Or 2017, him going 2 for 13 with 7 turnovers. Or 2019 losing when Kevin Durant was. I'll never forget those series. So me, James Harden is a set player. The ring just tells you that he could be a championship player if he's a third option, which I don't think is good for his legacy. I think when you have a guy who scored 35 and then to be told, you know what, he's only really a championship player when he's the third or maybe fourth option in the team, I don't think that's great for him. Then you have somebody like Tatum. Tatum's a weird one because I don't think Tatum's an all-time great, but I also think that if he wins a championship, you might start looking as a Boston great. And maybe at a certain point you may say, okay, Tatum is a player that's elevated. But I also think that how Boston will win that championship, I don't even guarantee he's going to be Finals MVP. That's how that good that Boston team is.
Right.
They will win that championship on committee. So I think if they do win the ring this year, which is a possibility, it won't be just through the heroics of Jason Tatum.
No, I don't think that. I think that is true. I do agree with you on that, but I do think that in order for them to have a shot to win it, he's got to play the best of all of those dudes.
Yeah, he has to play the best, but I don't think he has to stay so far away from the pack.
No, he doesn't. It's not like Jordan separating himself. It's not like James or something. He doesn't have to average 35 a game in order for them to do that. No, he doesn't have to do that. But I think that with them winning, I do think that this deads a lot of the narrative about him. Like, we have to stop that. It can't go on if they were to win it.
Yeah, I think Tatum's discourse, in a way, Tatum, because of his early success, I don't think a player that young outside of winning a ring has been there's not many that have been as successful as Jason Tatum in his first 7 or 8 years. And I think the discourse for a guy that young is so harsh that it's that I think everybody thinks that he's only 27 or 20, even 26. He's not that old. Like,
just so you know, today is, I believe, the 15th. He just turned 26 last week.
Yeah, he's not that old. He has time to get better. But the problem is how much high leverage situations can you put him in before he starts to perform? And I think there is where the question kind of comes with Tatum. I think when you start to get to 26, 27, I think we start to get an understanding of your player profile in terms of where you are at and what you kind of do in certain situations. I don't think you necessarily elevate. I think you kind of maintain a nice little level until maybe about 32. So Tatum is in a weird space because he's been to a finals, been to 4 conference finals, he's never missed the playoffs. So he's always been in, basically he's been a contender since his first season. Right. And it's supposed to be so it's a hard one with Tatum because I don't think he's looked at as an all-timer, but I think at the same time it stops a lot of the short-term narratives. I think those narratives will come back again if he wins and doesn't win for a long time. Right. So going back to your original point, the people that benefit the most in terms of a historical perspective is Giannis and Joker. Because if Joker wins this year, he's going to win the MVP. Then he's going to win the Finals MVP. And then it kind of becomes, like you said, that 2013 LeBron James conversation, your 2012 LeBron James conversation. He's won it. What do we do? It's kind of his until we... And I think the separation between him and Giannis, I don't think it's that big now, but it becomes vast. It becomes a chasm. Because now you're starting to look at Jokic perform in high-level situations, go back-to-back, not having a complimentary all-star next to him. And you're starting to see, ooh, you know, that gap is kind of big. He kind of does stuff where nobody else does them. And now you're starting to look at him in terms of having a potential peak that's, you know, rivals some of the greater centers that have ever played the game. So I don't know. I think Jokic, you're right. Coming to it now, I think it's Jokic that benefits the most, because I think his how unstoppable he is right now. I mean, Jokic is just, you know, no disrespect to some of these guys, he's bitching these guys out in one way or another.
I do. If I'm going
Yeah,
off, if I'm going off what my criteria is when I talk about Shaq doing it the way he did it, the way Jordan did it the way he did it, the way Duncan did it the way he did it, the way Bryant did it the way he did it, the way Giannis did it the way he did it, James did it the way he did it. The way these, if I'm going off my criteria, there's no way that I can have, right? There's no way that I can have Joker as not the best player if he's doing what fits the criteria, what I think the best player on the planet is, and doing it for a long and doing it in a time space where this makes you the best player.
Oh, 100%.
There's no way that I can do that. No way.
And him and the second best player in the league, they're the same age. I didn't realize this. Him and Giannis are the same age. So I don't know how long they can keep competing for this spot. Right. I think if Giannis wins this year, I think you kind of put him next to Jokic, where they're basically 1A and 1B. I think it's a clear number 1 and number 2 situation right now.
I think those two dudes are doing it like that right now, as a matter of fact. It's almost like pick your poison. I think if I'm going off my criteria, I think Joker's the best player on the planet. But if Giannis were to win it again, that'd be twice in 3 years, followed by 2 league MVPs, playing at a high level the way he's been playing. It'd be real difficult to keep. It'd be real difficult to keep the league. It'd be real difficult to keep that title away from him as the best player on the planet. Really difficult.
Is it a Timmy Shaq situation? You think? Do you think it's a Tim Duncan Shaq?
I think it would be very similar, because when Shaq ended up winning it, I think when they won it after the 3rd year, I mean, I think Bryant started to enter that conversation. But when they won it for the 3rd straight year, and Shaq was the Finals MVP for the 3rd straight year, he finished in league MVP votes like in top 3. And they won the NBA championship, and they handled the league MVP both those years. It'd be hard. It was hard for me. I thought he was undisputed the best player on the planet. And then when Tim Duncan did what he did, when winning the league MVP in 2002, then winning it again in 2003, and then winning the NBA championship, and then winning it again in 2005, and playing out, I think he finished second that year in league MVP votes in 2005.
Yeah, he did,
It was, for me, it was undisputed. That's the best player on the planet right there. As good as Shaq was, and as good as Shaq was doing, Tim Duncan was the best player on the planet.
So what that does mean is that Giannis, if, for example, if Jokic wins this year, that means there is a still potential that Giannis could catch Jokic. Because I think in your mind, do you think Tim Duncan's better than Shaq?
I do have him ahead of Shaq. Yes, I do.
Okay, that's fair. So when Shaq won his 1st straight title, where did you have Shaq at that time? Take away, you know, obviously the next 20 years or so. But where did you have Shaq ranked all time when he won that 1st straight title?
Well, when he won it, when they won it in the 99-2000 season, for everything that he did, I had put him ahead of Tim Duncan. He wasn't in the all-time conversation yet.
Really?
Because he had only won 1.
Okay.
He wasn't in that conversation yet. Because remember who we talking about? We talking about Jabbar. We talking about Chamberlain. We talking about Russell. We talking about Olajuwon. I thought he was a top 5 center. I did feel like he was there at that point. But in terms of all-time greats and in top 20 and all of that, like, I wasn't thinking about that at that time. I was thinking about how many more can he win at that point.
Yeah, no, that makes 100%. Before I go, I wouldn't. Before I'm gonna drop anyway. But what is your top 10 center list before? Just
Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Olajuwon, Shaq, Moses, David Robinson. Let's see. I think I have Ewing. I'm sorry, Joker, Ewing, and I think I had Bill Walton at 10. I think I had Bill Walton at 10. And if I had Joker, I don't think I had Joker ahead of Ewing. I might have had those two guys flip flop. No, that's not true. I had Dwight Howard at 10. I had Bill Walton at 11.
Okay, that's fair. Yep. That's fair. Joker is definitely top 6 now. But anyway, Joe.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. Yep. So when I think about the best players in the game and who it would benefit most, That's who I'm rolling with. I think it's Joker of all the guys. I do think it's Joker. My man D Reed, he got some action. He got some action for me before I shake the spot, because I got to bounce in a bit, but I got some time for my man D Reed. D Reed want to come up and chop it up a little bit, which is cool. I just don't see a lot of I don't see a lot of room for error, and not just a lot of room for error. I just don't see a lot of guys that benefit more from winning the championship than Joker. Just from a confidence standpoint, I just feel like the Joker to win it, man, this shit turns into something completely different with him. Because I think they win it again next year. I do. I think they win it again next year. So that's where I'm at with it. So it's about that time for me. I got to bounce. It was good to see you guys tonight. Yep. It was good to see you guys tonight. I got to bounce. I will see you guys soon. As you can see, there's some new content coming on. Hold on. I got somebody waiting outside. I got to holler at them real quick, but I'll get to this. What up, D? Yo. What up? I had him and I didn't. I'll catch him next time, though. I'll catch my man D next time. But I will see you guys soon. This is great conversation. This is great content. As you know, as you guys know, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it around here. I got some new content coming down the pipe. So, stay tuned. It should be some good stuff. And this is what we're doing. We're expanding a little bit. So you guys know where to find me. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talk to your mother, man? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to talk to you guys tonight, no doubt.